Hey everybody, and welcome to this 15-20 minute hip opening yoga class. So this is only going to be a short little class just to really open up and release any tension that we might be holding in our inner hips, in our outer thighs, and we're just going to remove that tension by doing some lovely hip opening yoga poses. So we're going to start in child's pose. So if you want to bring your knees hip distance of your mat and your big toes to touch, and just start to release your fingertips forward, and then start to lower your forehead all the way down towards the mat, and just relax here, spreading your fingertips really wide, just giving yourself a few moments just to arrive on your mat, letting go of your day. If you're doing this practice in the morning or if you're doing this practice in the evening, either way, both are amazing. And it's so important that we bring our yoga practice into our hips on a daily basis, because this is where we hold so much tension, so many emotions and so many feelings. So just relax here and just starting to connect with that breath. So maybe take a deep breath in through the nose, holding the breath gently at the top, and then open the mouth, let it go with a and again. Inhale deeply, hold the breath very gently at the top, and then open the mouth, let it go with a big sigh. On your next breath, you're going to inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath very gently at the top, and then start to exhale while closing the mouth through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding that breath very gently at the top, and then exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale. On your exhale, rise all the way up to a tabletop position. Release your toes behind you, and we're just going to bring some little stretches and little body movements into the upper body, so into the shoulders, the low back, and then take it all the way down into our hips. So it doesn't matter what this looks like, it's what it feels like. So maybe you start to take some circles around the tops of the wrist, coming forward and then back and forward and back, just doing this a few times. Maybe you start to bring a little bit more movement into those shoulders, get rid of any pops and cracks, maybe into the low back, the hips, starting to take those movements into the hips one way, and then holding it, and then reversing the hips the opposite way. So you can make them as big or as little as you want. So these circles can be anything you feel you need. You might want to make them even bigger, and then slowly start to bring it back into the shoulders. Maybe you can bring in the neck involved, making sure that you are gentle there, and then just press all the way forward. Inhale, lift, open up your heart, uncurl your toes, and just press back into a child's pose. Let it go. Inhale, roll forward, lift your heart and chest up. Exhale, uncurl those toes, press the hips back one more time. Inhale, roll forward, lift up. Feel the lungs. As you exhale, push back, let it go. Coming back to that tabletop position. And then from there, you're going to take your right leg and you're going to do a few little circles. So you're going to circle that leg all the way up and around. Really big circles here, using your breath and exhaling. 2 more this way, and then just hold it in the center and then reverse the circle the other way. So very gently, bring it into the opposite way. Just really warming into those hips, and then maybe you bring it forward and back. So kicking up and back, up and back. Just one more. And then release that knee, let it go. From here, you're going to start to walk your fingertips forward. But before you do, we're going to come into a version of high puppy, but we're going to open up and stretch into the inner thigh. You're going to walk your right leg all the way out as far as it can go, pointing your right toes forward. Then you're just going to start to walk your fingertips forward as far as they can go. And then you're going to start to lower your heart and chest down. So just slowly releasing here, forehead towards the mat. You can always use a block under your head here if you feel you need a little bit more support. But then we're going to take it into 5 deep, deep breaths. So inhaling and exhaling. Really stretching through the whole of the upper body, into that inner thigh, breathing deeply. Two more really deep breaths. One more. And then on that exhale, start to walk your fingertips back in towards you and then step that right knee back in. Okay, so coming back to that tabletop, but before we do, just open up the knees, big toes to touch, press your heels back all the way to your heels of your feet, sit bone back, hold it here and breathe, and let it go. From there, come all the way back up to that tabletop position. And this time you're going to take those circles into your left knee. So grounding into your right knee, you're just going to pick up your left and do some little circles one way. So really open up that leg, real gentle, using your breath still. Really gentle circles, opening up, bringing it back down. You have 2 more. And then we're going to reverse. So from there, you're going to bring it forward and around. And then reverse that circle. So again, really big, big circles into those hips. Really open up the knee, bringing it down. Using your breath. Inhaling. And exhaling, really, really good. And then maybe bring the knee back and in and press it back and in. A little bit of glute activation here. A couple of more times. Pressing up and then release the knee. Open up the knees, press back, child's pose. Bring your fingertips forward, release that head down. Take a couple of breaths. Ooh, and let it go. From there, coming back up to your tabletop, and then you're going to keep your you're going to bring your left leg all the way out. So we're doing that version of high puppy, but on the left side, and then you're just going to walk your fingertips all the way forward. Do you start to lower your heart and chest once again down towards your mat? Maybe your forehead comes down. Hold it here, reach and stretch through those fingertips. Breathe, inhale, and soften as you exhale. 4 more breaths. One more really deep inhale. As you exhale, walk your fingertips all the way back in and then step the leg in, open up the knees, press those hips once again back into that child's pose and let it go. Release your forehead down and spread your fingertips wide. Just take 2 breaths here, inhaling and soften on that exhale. When you're ready, we're going to come up into our first downward facing dog. So if you need to keep your knees bent, that's absolutely fine. Just be really mindful if you're holding any tension in those knees. You might want to pedal out the legs. Just bending one leg at a time. Maybe even taking your gaze under opposite arm as you start to bring more movement into that downward dog. And then when you're ready, just come to stillness in your downward facing dog. So really spread your fingertips wide, shoulders away from your ears. Just take a couple of deep breaths here. Inhaling and let it go on the exhale. And again, inhale and exhale. On your next deep inhale, you're going to lift up your right foot and point all the way through for split dog. So really hold it here, really lift that leg up, breathe. Just a few breaths, really stretching all the way through the toes. Bend the knee, try and ground your left heel as you open up the right hip. Now be mindful here that we're not twisting all the way open. We're trying to square our shoulders towards the mat and release our head down. Breathe, just hold it here. Or your intention going into the hip of the right knee and the right leg. Breathe in and exhale. Really, really nice. One more deep breath. And then you're going to bring that knee all the way through to the center. Hold it up. Maybe give your knee a little kiss. And then you're going to release your knee to the back of your right wrist. So we're going to come into our pigeon pose. But before we do, we're just going to bring a little bit of movement into our pigeon pose. So you can also pop a block just underneath your right hip, just to elevate you up a little bit. So if you feel you're sagging and you need a little bit of support, very simply, pop in a block. So right knee, right wrist, and then your block just pops under your hip, really simply like that. So it just helps you really lift up your heart and chest and really feel a little bit more stability and more grounded. If you don't need it, then you can just remove it and you don't need it and pop it off. So lift up your heart and chest, relax your toes and point through your foot, point through your toes. Lift up, inhale, roll the shoulders back. And then exhale, start to roll, leading with your heart and chest down. From here, bring your fingertips all the way out. So come up and imagine that you're spreading your fingertips really wide, like little tents. And then just inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, release, let it go. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, let it go. One more. Inhale. Imagine you're like a wave as you exhale, release down, and then mounting into that pigeon pose. So again, you might want to bring your hands and make a little pillow so you can rest your forehead down. It might be that this is too uncomfortable and you need to just come up onto your fingertips and just hold it here. Remember, if you have blocks, you can also bring your hands on your blocks as well as you just sink into this pose. The other option that you may need, if this is far too much challenging for you, you can come onto your back and you can place your right foot on top of your left knee, and then you can gently press with your right hand and open up the hips. And this will do a very similar thing for you as you really open up into that right thigh. So have a little play around, see what's right for you, and then once you're there and you're comfortable, really start to connect with your breath. So you have 3 to 7 breaths here. So just be really mindful with every breath and every exhale. If you're feeling tension, if you're feeling any pain, you need to back out of the pose just a little bit more. Really deep inhales. Really deep exhales. Removing any tension in the face, the jaw. Just let gravity just really bring into your face the calmness and the relaxation as you hold this very restorative hip opener. 2 more deep breaths. One more. And then slowly come all the way up. Lift your heart and chest, hold it here, and then ground your hands and curl your toes. Press back into downward facing dog. If you want to just open up the hip, maybe give it a little circle, just release any tension. Maybe one way and the other, because you're going to repeat that on the other side. So from there, grounding your right foot, lift up your left. Hold it here, nice and straight through the toes. Really stretch through the whole of that leg. Breathe in and out. Maybe you can bend the knee. Maybe you open up the left hip, holding it here, and breathe in. Trying to square the shoulders forward, so try not to twist the upper body. Take it into the hip as you open up a bit deeper. 2 more deep breaths. 1 more. And then slowly bring that knee all the way in. Maybe give it a little kiss and then release the left all the way to the left wrist. And then start to release that back leg down. Inhale, come up, lift your heart and chest. Feel the lungs, and then as you exhale, fold all the way down. Now before we fully come in, we're just going to do a few of those waves. Inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold down. 1 more. And release, let it go. Coming back all the way up. Just noticing if you need to use your block on your left hip this time, you can slot it underneath, or if you need to come into a totally different pose. I nearly forgot what I was going to say then. If you want to come into a totally different pose on the opposite side, this is your chance to move into that position. So when you're ready then, inhale, lift up, and then exhale, release your heart and chest down. So just coming down into that pigeon pose. Maybe again, just bringing your hands, making a little pillow, resting your forehead down, making sure your right toes are pointing really, really straight. And just hold it here and just breathe. Inhaling. And softening on the exhale. Just a couple more breaths. Just being really, really mindful that you're not collapsing into that left side, into that left hip. A couple of more breaths. One more deep inhale. And then as you exhale, bring your fingertips back up, lift your heart and chest. And then all you're going to do is bring your foot back in and bring both toes or feet together. And you're going to open up your hips here. So just opening up the knees, bring your hands and wrap them gently around your toes. Inhale, lift your heart and chest up. Nice, tall crown of the head. Nice, tall spine. Inhale, and then exhale, fold and release. So you have the option, if you want to use your block, you can bring a block and rest it on top of your feet as you forward fold. This is quite restorative, so you can just relax your head down, and you have different heights of your block. So you might just want to play around with that. If you want to go a little bit deeper without the block, you can wrap your hands underneath and then grab your toes, and then once again start to open your hips as you release your forehead down. And you can just hold it here and just breathe Really, really deeply inhaling and exhaling. Last couple of breaths. Really use your inhales and exhales. So, so important when we're working into our hips that you really connect with that breath. And then very slowly when you're ready, very slowly come out of the pose, rising your hand chest up, and then just bring your knees together and then bring your hands behind you and maybe just window wipe the knees from left to right and right to left. And then just cross your legs, come into a seated position, and there we have it. That is a really quick, simple hip opener that you can bring into your daily life on the morning or the evening, just to really open up and really release any tension going on in those hips. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.